Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, good. Boy, I had a little trouble today. The graphics seem to be different. Janet.
Hi,
Hello,
Jan. This is Francis.
Hi.
hi Janet and Francis. This is Debbie.
Hi,
Yeah,
Debbie.
Debbie.
How's everybody?
You doing
Good, good.
fine? How are you?
I'm good.
Did anybody else see any difference this time in logging in?
I look. You know what? I be logging in so much. I don't know what. No, I didn't have no problem logging in. Did you?
Yeah,
Yeah, it looked real weird. Things look strange. I got with different windows, and then now the graphics look a little different. I don't know. I'm so confused.
I didn't have a
Challenging. I don't
problem
know
either
what to do.
because I
Huh?
be on all day on different things anyway, so I didn't have a problem.
Well, okay. Well, I'm here now, so.
Yep. Ooh. Where's our chairperson? Well, it's just 6:15.
Yes, they coming out, I suppose.
I suppose so.
I got some dinner waiting for me, so. Oh,
Uh,
and another Zoom. I got another Zoom.
oh God, this is my second for today. I listen.
I got three today.
I got something waiting for me. Some cleanups. I'm putting some clothes away. I got stuff all over my house.
Oh, please.
Seems like I'm busier now than before.
That's
I
true.
know. Can you believe it?
That because you in the house, you at home.
Yeah, and everybody wants to do a Zoom meeting because you don't have to go no place. Hi, Ilsa.
Hello.
Why, yeah.
Good. Hi, everyone.
Greetings.
Hi.
Greeting. It's been a long time, folks.
Yes,
Yep.
it has.
Yes. Hi, Rob.
That is mute. He's on mute.
Yeah, you don't want to
I
hear
think
me.
he knows.
We hear you now.
Uh,
Wait,
oh,
let me come back out and back in again.
Do we have an agenda for this evening?
um, agenda for this evening is to create the agendas for the rest of our evenings.
What about that thing they sent out about the street naming?
That's one of the items.
Okay.
Let's give it a few more minutes and get a few more bodies in the Zoom room. I didn't get a new list from the board yet, members. I see that we have a CB8 participant, but I'm not sure anybody's there. But when we last left,
I'm here. I'm sorry. I'm
hello,
just here
Julia.
to participate in you guys' meeting.
You.
As far as the list of the majority of complaints that we've gotten during the pause regarding
Stop.
ESG
Pause.
issues,
No, we want to talk about members. Who's the list of members?
I don't, I am on a different computer right now, but I will see if I did my typical redundancy and I saved it in 5 different places. Give me about 2 minutes to try to locate the updated list. I know when I sent it out to you guys back in, I believe in the beginning of September, Ms. Weatherspoon took off a few members. Just give me 2 minutes and I'll see if I can find it for you guys. Hold on.
Thank you. No rush.
And also the co-naming thing, I had a few follow-up questions for the potential applicants and they respond. But if you guys want to continue with the application tonight, by all means, please do so. I did forward it out to the committee. You do have the information package that we had at the district office.
Julia, your voice is real choppy. That's what I hear. I don't know if anybody else hears it.
It could be the internet connection. I do know that Optimum has been having major connectivity issues, but unfortunately, I don't have video on, so there's no way for me to eliminate that choppiness. So I will just go back into the background then.
Oh, Julia, I found the roster. It's a little, okay, this is good because it's got the new people, but there's certainly some people who've dropped off based on attendance. Okay. Okay. There's no way for me to share my screen, is there?
You have the ball now. You should be able to share it. And I believe the only change to your updated roster that was in September was the removal of Dr. Perko.
Yeah,
Was she the only one that was in?
Yeah, there's a few people who've rolled off for non-attendance. We also have our new board members who've joined: John Buchholz, Judy Harris-Blenman. But those are the only things that pop out at me.
Okay.
Add them on and see.
Everyone, I've dropped into the chat some of the main issues that we've fielded at the district office regarding Est Concerns, just so everyone can look at them. The document was shared with the chair and vice chair of the committee. I think back in December or whenever it was. I don't know how much of it will be discussed tonight, but just so you guys have for your record, if you want it, I can pop it into the chat.
Thank you, Bill. All right, why don't we take some roll call and see where we stand? Ms. Atkins? Mr. Buchholz? Janet Collins?
Present.
Thank you. Holly Fuchs? Jeannie Harris-Blenman? Susanna Jordan? Francis Langley?
Yeah.
Thank you. Robert Lapointe? Celeste Stern? Mark Thurton? know Mark's
Yeah.
here.
I'm here.
There you are. Thank you. Yersa Weatherspoon,
Here.
here, Robert Witherwax is here, and Deborah Young is here. We have
Right.
6 out of
7. No. 6. I'm
7.
sorry. I'm looking at the CB8 square.
Don't confuse me. It's easy. Out of members in good standing. We need one more body to do business, but it's probably fine because, as I snarkily said at the top, the agenda for tonight is really just to kind of set the agenda for what we're going to accomplish in the next couple months. Julia, we're not going to dispose of anything tonight for 2 reasons. 1, it's our first meeting back, and 2, we don't have a quorum. But we will, I want to discuss the street co-naming just briefly. I want to discuss the proposal to invite Department of Information and Technology, do whatever that is, to talk about the 5G network. And we want to talk about your pandemic complaints list, which thank you for posting in the chat. Find the chat.
Bob, excuse me, Bob.
Yeah.
Can everyone just mute their background noise? If you could just mute your phone. I'm sorry, your volume.
Great. So it's just me now. Perfect. So thank you, everybody. I hope everybody had as nice a summer as could have been had under the circumstances. Very little travel, very little positivity, but hopefully we all made something nice out of it. One of the plus points, I think, for us in CB8 was that we live in a very nice place to begin with. So it was nice to be able to get out and about and use our parks and use our streets in new and wonderful ways as we stayed home for the bulk of the summer. I know I did with 2 teenagers. It was interesting to try to keep them active, mobile, entertained, and it was good to have the open streets nearby to go out and sashay every now and then up and down the avenues. No one here is a problem with this, but we did have an active chat over the summer on our listserv. And once or twice, I think things got a little heated and out of hand. And the tone that was used by some of the participants in the email exchanges got a little personal or ad hominem, perhaps unnecessarily so. We didn't moderate it unduly or ask people to step down publicly. But I just want us to all try to be a little more aware that we are a diverse community with diverse opinions on what matters to people who have equally valid claims to this community. So let's try to not attack each other on email exchanges. We lost a good member, I think, largely because of that. And I don't want that to repeat itself in either direction, on either issue, for any reason. So let's all try to play nice together. Again, I don't think that anyone on this call right now is a problem, or liable to be a problem on that front. But bears saying. So Ms. Weatherspoon and I spoke briefly the other day, and I think we'd like to try to set for a November meeting, and I know because we meet so late in the month, Thanksgiving does intrude. We'd like to try to schedule the Julia sharing content. Thank you, Julia. Schedule the co-naming discussion for a November meeting. I don't get the sense there's a ticking clock on that. So if the members could review that more closely for the next meeting, that would be great. We also would like to extend an invitation. Julia would like the board office to extend an invitation to the individual from DOITT to come and discuss the 5G infrastructure that's coming. So thank you very much. Again, a November date. I think the date that we're supposed to meet is 24th. That is probably the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So I don't know if we're going to do that. but we'll see what their schedule permits. And the same thing with the street co-naming. If we can put a committee meeting together that day, maybe we'll send a straw poll around to the members and see who's available for a Zoom. We will see. All right. Any comments on either one of those topics? You know, we want to dispose of our business, but nothing is urgent, and I don't want to just have a meeting to have a meeting. So if we can schedule it for that time, I think that's a good use of the committee's time. Great. Why don't we turn to the EST concerns then? We'll go through these one by one quickly. The great pause of 2020. It says 200. I don't think we've gone back in time, but you know, this is, in some ways, it's kind of like living in the Roman Empire toward the fall. But hopefully after November 3rd, things will brighten up. Scooters, electric bikes, concern over the proliferation of them, noise from them, increased illegal traffic of them on sidewalks that endanger pedestrians, the repair shops with little to no regard for pedestrian safety as they openly engage in repair on the street. So back to front, I mean, repair shops were like any other business. They needed to use as much outdoor space as other, but regard for pedestrian safety should be a given. They should not engage in that. Same thing, these things belong on streets and not on sidewalks. The noise from them, some of these guys are silent. And that's almost more deadly than the noisy ones. But the proliferation, I mean, I think there's a couple of things that go here. Yes, a lot more of us used scooters this summer, myself included. My very smart wife bought one online toward the beginning of things so I could actually commute and go do my job without going on the subway. And that was a great boon. But I was a scooterer for the first time this summer. It was a very eye-opening experience. A lot of people don't share the road well, including other scooters, delivery men. But again, cut people slack for trying to do business in this time. But this is something to watch for. I don't think I don't think we're gonna see fewer of them. So the proliferation is something to watch, but you know, manage. The scooter shares, yeah, Revel, right? Wanton usage of people not licensed. This is why I have not yet driven a Revel. I don't feel competent to drive a Revel. Do not necessarily know how to properly utilize the scooter. Lack of helmet usage endangering life. Well, subsequent to this complaint, there has been at least 3 fatalities associated with Revels, and they now have they've revised their policy. So helmet usage is now mandatory. They will shut the bike off if they find you, if their algorithm finds you misusing it. And they have increased their learning curve before you can use it, which are all to the good, right? We don't want anyone putting themselves or anybody else in danger. Commercial karting. Do we know, Julia, when the new zones took place? Have they yet for our district? I'm not sure where we stand in this, but we can revisit it. Just ancillary to that, non-commercial karting, right? Regular garbage pickup, I thought was spotty at best this summer. We're missed a couple of times, whether it's the recycling or the garbage.
I'm sorry. I was struggling to figure out how to unmute myself, and I have no idea what part of the screen you guys are seeing now because I'm a little slow in the uptake today. But the new karting regulations went into effect in December 2019.
Right. So we are subject to them.
Yes, and as I understand it, with the zones, everyone in that zone gets picked up at a certain time. And new complaints that have started coming in the last 30 days or so are that there are certain vendors, certain commercial businesses that don't like who their carter is, and therefore they are not utilizing the zoned carter. Out of respect for these businesses, I will not name them, but there is one in particular that is a habitual bad actor. that has refused to get the private carter for their zone, and those complaints are starting to rise again.
Complaints by residents about the business?
That is correct. The vendors that don't utilize the zoned carter are now relying on, sanitation to remove their garbage. If sanitation doesn't remove it, then, the residents have to look at it for an extended period of time. It's something that we're working with the garage on, but we have yet to figure out how to resolve it. It's why I didn't update it in this document here, but I just to let you guys know. And also, if you guys notice this, please let us know the other businesses that are doing this.
Well, I mean, I know you're reluctant to name names, but can you give street corners?
There are a few businesses on Kingston Avenue that refuse to use the Karting company for that zone.
No surprise. All right, thank you. We'll try to come up with a creative solution for that, but I think it's really above our pay grade. Let's keep monitoring and keep the sanitation department abreast of whatever we find in the mornings left behind. So moving on to the next issue, curbside seating and their impact on deliveries, street cleaning, and vermin. I was just talking with a business vendor on Washington Avenue this evening before this meeting, showing me his new seating array. It looks really quite pleasant. I'll be frank, the wither waxes have not yet dined out. We've gotten takein. We've cooked a whole ton of food here, but we haven't gone to a restaurant for reasons of our own personal preference. But it looked very nice. And we were talking about what his plans were for the winter and when and if the snow comes. And he showed me the thought that has gone into creating this really nice seating area. And it's tremendous. He said it's an investment that I had to make, but it was made at a very bad time for the business, right? It's a lot of money I had to spend that I need to spend to stay in business, but didn't necessarily have on hand to spend. So hopefully our restaurants and bars and their curbside seating will permit them to last and stay around for nicer times. However, that doesn't mean it's impact free, right? So deliveries, they're taking up parking spots, they're taking up loading zones, they're not taking up bus stops, and they're not taking up fire hydrants. Street cleaning is probably my number one issue with this, right? Now our streets, they've rolled back alternate site already. So the sweepers aren't moving through in any case as often as they were. Forget commercial avenues. But garbage and debris is going to pile up, and it's not going to be the fault of the restaurateur or the bar owner. It's just going to collect leaves. It's just going to collect windblown garbage. So I'm hoping that Department of Sanitation stays on the restaurants and helps them maintain their own spaces where they have taken curbside streets space. I don't want to go through this item by item and the bullet points. I think they're self-explanatory. But anyone hold a comment?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay. I don't know how to raise my hand.
That's all right. I don't see it anyway. So Ms. Collins, go right ahead.
Oh, okay. Aren't the restaurants like homeowners responsible for 18 inches into the curb?
Well, the buildings are responsible for 18 inches into the curb, and it's between the landlord and the tenant as to how they allocate that.
Okay, so then that's their. Then the city takes over 18 minutes out, 18 inches beyond that, after
Yes.
the 18 inches. Yeah. Okay,
I'm
so they
not
do have
sure-
some responsibility for keeping clean the area.
Correct. And I'm not sure how having a semi-permanent structure in the street that obviously exceeds 18 inches changes that. I'm sure in the program that devised this somehow they've addressed it, but I haven't seen the answer. I can't imagine it's relieving the building owner and the tenant of any responsibility to do that. In fact, it's probably enhancing their responsibility to keep that patch clean. Ms. Young?
Yeah, I want to preface my statement by saying it's not a complaint. It's clearly a question. I've noticed two establishments that have extended out into the street, which is fine. But on both of them, like there's one on the corner of, I want to say Albany Avenue and Sterling Place. And I think it's like a bakery shop. And they don't have eat-in. And they extended out into the street on Albany Avenue. But they have a section that's kind of like an outdoor seating space from Albany Avenue almost to Hampton Place.
Oh,
Similarly, on Kingston Avenue, and they've come before us a couple of times, and I know sometimes we've had problems with them, right on the corner of Lincoln and Kingston. They did a similar thing onto Lincoln Place. They now have a Rita's for anybody who loves Rita's ice cream. There's one right on Lincoln off of Kingston Avenue. But they've extended their outdoor seating so far onto Lincoln Place. So it's really, I mean, I don't know if there's any requirements about how far you can extend. And again, it's not a complaint. It was just interesting to see it so large, and particularly the one on Kingston, on Albany Avenue, which was not an eat-in place. It's people going and get coffee and bagels. There's no seating, but to have extended so far just made my eyebrows go up. So, if anyone has any thoughts about that or know whether there's a requirement about how far you could extend?
to start with, it was very similar to the SLA committee's sidewalk cafe guidelines. You could only have it in front of your establishment, right? So if you have a corner lot, you're lucky. You've got the
Oh,
short
okay.
side and the long side. But if you're a mid-block spot, you are unlucky because you only had your little slice.
Okay.
So they have since relaxed that. They've said that if you have a neighboring business that isn't doing this, and I'm not sure of the intricacies, you can steal some of their space and make your cafe, your sidewalk cafe, larger than the storefront. So again, very beneficial for the mid-block businesses with maybe a 15, 20-foot width. They can now go 25, 30.
Okay.
I presume it's the same no matter what you have. So the corner lots maybe can go farther than their footprint as well.
Oh,
But we
okay.
can definitely look into that and see if we can find that answer.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know, but again, not a complaint, just
Yeah.
observation. I
We
think
should know these
if
things so
anyone,
we know when to spot people who are misbehaving.
right, if anyone would have a complaint, it would be the residents who live in particular on Sterling Place between Albany and Hampton Place, because it takes up the whole sidewalk. But anyway, okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Debbie, you mean that they have their tables in front of the homeowner, the home
Yeah,
residents?
it's in a it's not commercial on Sterling between Albany and I think it's Hampton.
Uh-huh.
And I think it looks like it might be a private dwelling apartment building, small apartment building, but it's not the business does not face onto Sterling Place. It's only on Albany Avenue, but it is on the corner.
Miss Young, are you talking about the bakery on the corner of Albany and stuff?
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, yeah, they definitely do have. I believe they own that apartment building on the front of Sterling.
Oh, okay.
That was actually the first place that they built their curbside seating.
That was the first?
And they extended around onto the Albany side.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know they owned that apartment, but okay, fine. Thank you for the information.
I said I think. I don't know for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they definitely they took advantage of the loophole of frontage space of the establishment. Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to take a class in loophole.
Yeah, it's called law school.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I got to consult my daughter and get to law school also.
So the last two bullet points under this, basically double parking, right? Whether it's delivery trucks or just cars, I see it all the time on Washington Avenue. we have lost metered parking space in one sense, but we've gained the street seats. And what will probably shake itself out is the delivery companies will figure out how to do this without blocking the street for more than 10 minutes at a time. But it's the double parkers that hopefully the police will take a bigger hand in shooing them away to keep the street free for movement. All right, moving on down. Budget cuts for Department of Sanitation, right? So we alluded to this earlier. I wish they hadn't rolled back alternate side. As big a pain in the butt as it was, we were all home and moving our cars was not an issue. We were there. Why not? It gave me something to look forward to at 9:30 on a Monday morning. I get to move my car, yay! But now the downside of the rollback is that, yeah, the streets do seem dirtier, especially now with leaves. And people have been super aggressive about moving back in. We're on a block where it's 9:30 to 11 on Thursdays and Fridays. And my God, if it isn't 10:15 or 10 minutes after 10, cars are already moving back in to get a spot on the side that was supposed to be clear until 11. And the sweeper hasn't even passed. So guess what? Block doesn't get clean. Stay dirty. So if there's anything we can do to talk with Department of Sanitation about that, I wouldn't mind seeing alternate side return to its full force. Not a big issue because, again, those of us with cars probably sitting at home looking at them right now. So we can make it work. Increasing open streets, continuing restaurants, open markets, open streets by closing vehicular traffic even post-COVID, whenever that will be. So, yeah, this has been a great success, smashing success in the weekends on Vanderbilt. I know there's been several other blocks or series of blocks throughout the neighborhood and the district that have been closed during the school day, during the evenings, what have you. And they're all supposed to stay. The Open Streets program, which in my immediate neck of the woods is on Underhill Avenue, is supposed to close down, they think, in November. They're not 100% sure. And the Open Streets Restaurants is going to stay open through Thanksgiving on Vanderbilt. But the programs are in place to reopen in the spring. So again, we should be aware of that. Locally, for me, these have been entirely volunteer driven. People like me go out at 8 a.m. and move a barricade from one point to another. That's not sustainable. It's a great way to meet your neighbors, but again, once we're all up and going back somewhere for work, it's going to be tough to make happen. And the scheduling that is Open Streets Vanderbilt for the restaurants has been amazing. All praise to Gib Vicconi for taking on that challenge. No surprise to those of us who know Gib, and making it work by organizing a fleet of volunteers, 30, 40 people on a rotating schedule who man the open hours for Vanderbilt Avenue's Open Streets restaurants on Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sundays. But again, that is not sustainable, so we may need to be professionalizing it when that opens up again in the spring. So we'll have plenty of opportunity to discuss that and what worked, what didn't work, and what we might suggest as we go. Last bullet point, I think this is the last one, Julia, or is there more below the equitable streetscape changes? Anyway, more equitable streetscape changes and vehicle owners feel like everything is, quote, happening to them to hurt them. That's how people feel. That's how people feel. But equity is what it's all about. My point has always been that I feel the equities have been very tilted toward vehicle owners. So pulling them back a little bit and sharing the equities, I still think it's a good direction we're moving in. It's a good vector. But I don't want to see a city where for those who need a private vehicle, can't have it. I wouldn't want to see that city. So I don't think we're there yet, and I'm sorry if it feels like everything is happening to them to hurt them to some people, but we hopefully that's not truly the case. Anything further down on this? Any comments?
Those are all the issues that we fielded, with the exception of the one that I just gave earlier tonight about the establishments that don't necessarily want to use their zone charter.
Great. So add to this for the November meeting, put the street co-naming discussion on, if you would, please.
My note is I can share this document with the committee if you want, but this is just from my notes. I just wrote that in because I didn't have a piece of paper.
I think it's great. This is how I would take the notes. Yeah, my alert just went off for the EST meeting, so I guess I don't need to I can dismiss that reminder on my phone. Any other topics that we want to discuss at the next meeting, Ms. Young?
I put two things in the chat, and all of a sudden I can't remember what the first one was, but the second one was to explore left turn signal on Eastern Parkway, from Eastern Parkway onto New York Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's a reason why we don't have one there. The other thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if other streets have noticed, I know it happens on my block, Sterling, between Brooklyn and New York, but I also understand it's happening on Sterling between New York and Nostrand, where cars have taken to parking overnight on the hydrants. I mean, it's really become very serious. And I know that I've called 311, but a couple of times they ask me for the license plates number, and at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm not going outside to get license plates number, even though I did it once. But it's pervasive, and it's not parking there for a hot minute, an hour. It's like repeatedly. I know, come about 9 to 10 o'clock at night, somebody's going to park there, and that car is going to be there through 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning.
Wow, I haven't noticed that. But I'm not up at that hour, so.
Well,
I'm talking 9 o'clock at night. I'm not up.
Oh, okay.
But that's tough.
I've noticed that. Yeah, I've noticed.
Rob?
Yeah.
I am a little concerned. And what happened over here on this block, we had a dumpster that was being set on fire. And the fire department had come a couple of times, and that whoever was doing the fires also kind of started it along the Hebron grounds. And so there was a period of time when the fire department was here quite often. And they were here, cars were on the hydrant.
That's tragic. That's yeah, that should not be the case. Mark, were you going to say something to that?
Yes, Deborah, I'll mention that also to the 77th precinct. Hopefully that they can do some enforcement on that. I'll ask them also just to specifically look at Sterling, at those 2 blocks that you're referring to.
Interestingly, last week I was coming home. This was the middle of the day, and the police were they were on my block down near St. Gregory. And I stopped and had a little chat with them, and they said, oh, if we happen to see it, we would certainly ticket them or something, right? So I walked away and I came back. I said, wait a minute, there's a car right there on the hydrant parked right there. That car stayed there with no ticket, and the police were right there. So
it's normally the traffic enforcement section of the police department that we give out the tickets, but I'll let them know.
Okay, thank you.
Mark.
Rob,
Also,
yes.
let me just say, I just wanted to add a block. Fior also added that
okay.
Brooklyn between Bergen between Brooklyn and New York is also having problems with parking on the hydrant. Just so you can take that back too.
Yeah.
Bergen, I'm Brooklyn.
Bergen between Brooklyn and New York.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay. And I have one other thing. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Mark, finish up, then back to Deb.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Rob. There's a couple of things that I have. In reference to the karting, can we get a map of the karters that's going to be done for the Brooklyn area? That's one thing. At our public safety meeting, it was a concerned resident brought up the issue of the scooters on the sidewalk, and they brought that up to the police department. And what the response to the police department is that if the if if a scooter is stationary on the sidewalk and they see them moving and they're stationary, they will be able to give them a ticket. But they don't want to chase a scooter. And that's one thing that they're not willing to do, is to chase a scooter and endanger pedestrians and other bike riders. So that's the concern that we have from the police perspective. What else I have? Eastern Parkway. The project that we have going on for the Eastern Parkway, I have a major concern with that, because on the western section, they completed their walk don't walk renovation that they have that they was going on. But on the east side, they have not. We have Rochester, we have Buffalo. Those areas over there is extremely dangerous when they're pedestrians walking, crossing Eastern Parkway, and for the cars turning. So those are an extreme dangerous situation that was supposed to resolve from last year, but it's still ongoing. And can we put that as a top agenda? And are we able to send an email to whoever's overseeing it, questioning the time span on this, because this has been going on for 2 years? Because I remember I was complaining about this when my daughter was in high school. Now, and now she's getting ready to graduate college, and we still have that problem going on. I did send them an email, but I would prefer it for it to come from the community board, and for them to give us a time span, because it's an unsafe situation. And if we can put that as a priority on our list, because it is a commitment from the city to get that done, and hasn't been completed as of yet. I think that's about it from my perspective for now. Thank you, guys.
Agree 100%, Mark. If you're looking in the chat, you'll see Julia commented about the left turn from New York to northbound, from Eastern Parkway northbound onto New York. We've requested it. It was supposed to be part of this project, but there were reasons, and I remember why it wasn't part of this project. I can't recall them specifically. I'm sorry. So we'll get on it. But your point about Rochester and the other things that were definitely supposed to happen, I agree. Let's have Michelle reach out to DOT for an update, which is exactly what Julia says in the chat. We'll do. Great. We'll get that. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Any other comments, questions, concerns we can add to our list?
I had one more, and I raised it during another meeting. I can't remember. And this is on the north side of Eastern Parkway, and I hope I explained this properly. When you come to east of Washington Avenue, or is it east of Clawson? I'm not sure. There is no division between walkers and bicyclists. Okay, and having been walking up and down trying to get some exercise during our pause, I've become quite conscious of it. Not that even where there is the separation that everybody follows the rules, but at least you see some efforts with walkers trying to walk where they're supposed to, while bikers ride where they're supposed to on the sidewalk. Where there is no distinction between where you walk and where you ride the bike, bicyclists and people walking are just all, and it's a safety issue. So I don't know if we can have the similar kind of separation markings on the east, on the north side of Eastern Parkway, that we do on the west, because when you're heading west, once you hit Washington Avenue, it's divided. There's a little raised piece of concrete where people walk, and there's signs on the ground, but it's not east on Eastern Parkway on the northern side.
You're exactly right. And the reason for that is the bike lane is supposed to be on the south median, on the CB9 median. So if you're walking on the CB9 side, you will see that raised strip.
To a certain point, not the whole way.
Yeah,
Because I walk on the
couldn't
south.
tell.
Huh?
You may be right. I couldn't say.
Well, I can walk because I start walking from New York Avenue and I walk on the south side. And then I walk down to Grand Army Plaza on the south side, and then I come back on the north side. So I was conscious of it. And I think when I first reported it, I talked about it on the south side, and then somebody said, "Well, that's not our area." But then, so I started paying attention. So I'm looking at it on the north side. But it's a similar thing. When you get to a certain point, it does not exist on the eastern end.
You're right.
Deborah.
The reason for that is that there isn't supposed to be a bike lane on the northern median east of Washington.
So
But I
people are
think
not supposed
you're
to.
onto something, which would be a good idea. Why don't we just say, put down some paint, walkers, cyclists.
Right.
Why not?
Right, because they're riding bikes on both sides, so it doesn't matter, and
Yes.
people are walking on both sides, so it should be safety for all.
Deborah,
Yes, Margaret.
is that before the entrance to the subway or after the entrance to the subway?
You're talking about on the heading east, on the north.
Heading east.
I think I'm trying to think.
I mean, this is going east, or you're going west towards?
Coming. Well, let me say going east on the north side of Eastern Parkway. I think it stops at Washington Avenue.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think it stops there.
Okay.
We can bring this up to DOT and see what would be involved. I mean, the median's a funny place because it's sort of quasi-park, quasi-street. And there may be some jurisdictional elements to it, but we can certainly ask. We've observed this. What would be some suggestible changes that would be easy and achievable, like a stripe?
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Any other new business?
Yes, Rob and everyone. I just wanted to mention that tomorrow there will be a roundtable discussion. Actually, Rod and I were invited to attend. It's hosted by Link by Super Pedestrian, and it's a discussion regarding vehicle safety and rider behavior standards that are most important to ensure the protection of pedestrians and New Yorkers with disabilities. Super Pedestrian is an operator who is hoping to be able to introduce their shared scooter service business sometime spring of next year. So, whatever information that we can gather from there, we will certainly pass it on to the group.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. We will. I hope to join in. Anybody else? Great. Well, it looks like I'm the only one who grew a coronavirus beard, but I shaved it off. So. All right, well then, I guess we'll see you all in November at the general meeting. Julia, thank you so much for those notes. If you could circulate them, that would be great. And we'll send an email to the group about what we want to accomplish in November. Again, I want to let our invited guests govern the date. Let's invite DOITT and let's invite the co-naming people and see if that Tuesday works for everybody. And if it doesn't, we'll find another date. We're not wedded to the fourth Tuesday. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
you.
Good rehash. Thank you, Ms. Featherspoon.
Yes.
Have a good evening.
Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you. Bye, Fior.